The air in the community center is thick with tension, a silence so heavy it feels like a weight on my chest. The scent of polished mahogany mingles with the faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee, a stark contrast to the icy demeanor of Samantha Reed. My heart races, each beat echoing the betrayal I feel. Why did everything change? The question lingers, heavy and unanswered, as I grip my purse, a lifeline in this storm of corporate betrayal. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, illuminating the stark reality. Loyalty is a currency I can no longer afford. "I consider this disloyal," Samantha says, her voice like ice as she stares at me from behind her imposing desk. After everything Urban Media Group has done for me, I sit across from her, clutching my purse tightly to stop my hands from shaking. The shock of being called into her community center at 9:04 a.m. on a Tuesday has worn off, replaced by a heavy knot in my stomach as I realize what's happening. "Samantha, No," she cuts me off, her perfectly manicured nail tapping on a printed email. "Don't bother denying it. I have confirmation you interviewed with North Bay Solutions last Thursday. You took a half day for a dental appointment, I believe. My name is Megan Taylor. I'm 31 years old and have dedicated 6 years of my professional life to Urban Media Group here in Philadelphia. In those 6 years, I've tripled my client portfolio, brought in millions in revenue, and earned the respect of every major account in our roster, but apparently none of that matters now. Security will meet you at your desk. You can collect your personal belongings, but your building access is revoked immediately." Samantha's voice is emotionless as she slides my company ID across the desk. "I've already disabled your email access." The injustice of it burns in my chest. 3 years, 3 consecutive years, I've come to this same community center with meticulously prepared presentations showing my achievements, market rate, salary comparisons, and requests for a well-deserved raise. 3 years of tough budget year excuses while Samantha announced record profits at quarterly meetings. I take a deep breath and stand up, straightening my blazer. "I understand." Samantha looks almost disappointed by my calm response. Perhaps she expected tears or pleading. Instead, I extend my hand across the desk. "I wish you and Urban Media Group continued success," I say, my voice steady despite the emotional turmoil inside. As I walk out, the scent of rain wafts through the open window, a reminder that new beginnings often come after the storm. I step into the world outside, ready to reclaim my worth and find a new opportunity. She hesitated, her hand lingering in mine, confusion flickering across her face. The security guard stood awkwardly by my desk as I packed family photos and 6 years of desk plants into a cardboard box. Surprisingly, I felt calm. Colleagues shot concerned glances my way, but I smiled reassuringly. No drama, no scenes, just dignity. As I walked out of those glass doors for the last time, the April sunshine warmed my face. I realized something crucial. Samantha thought she was punishing me. She couldn't have been more wrong. Placing the box in my car trunk, my phone buzzed. A message from David Kleen, CEO of North Bay Solutions, lit up the screen. "Can we move our final discussion to today, 2 p.m.? A smile crept across my face. Samantha had no idea what was coming. Isn't it wild how 6 years of your life can fit into a single cardboard box? As I drove home from Urban Media Group, the box secure in my trunk, I reflected on everything that led to this moment. I joined the company fresh out of graduate school, eager and determined. Despite my marketing degree from Washington State University, I started in an entry-level position, making coffee runs and organizing meeting notes. But I worked tirelessly, staying late, volunteering for the tough projects nobody wanted, and building relationships with clients others had written off as too demanding. Within 2 years, I was handling our mid-tier accounts. By year 4, I'd been entrusted with North Bay Solutions, our largest client, worth nearly 30% of urban media's annual revenue. David Clean specifically requested me as their account manager after I stepped in during a crisis when their previous representative dropped the ball. "You're the only one who seems to understand what we need before we even ask," he'd told me. From then on, the relationship between our companies flourished, with North Bay extending their contract and doubling their marketing budget with us. Samantha had been pleased then. But now, as I drove away, the weight of my cardboard box felt lighter than expected. The sun glinted off my rearview mirror, and the world outside blurred. I focused on the road ahead, a newfound determination surging within me. This unexpected turn could be my chance to reclaim my narrative, turning betrayal into opportunity. The scent of rain lingered in the air, a reminder that new beginnings often come after the storm. The fluorescent lights flickered above me, buzzing like a swarm of angry bees. The scent of burnt coffee lingered in the air, a dark reminder of my failing hopes. I sat there, drowning in a sea of spreadsheets and vibrant graphs, each one heralding my triumphs. But those victories meant nothing when Samantha Reed's words sliced through the atmosphere. "Not in the budget." Her feigned sympathy wrapped around me like a cold blanket. Why did everything shift so drastically? Outside, the city pulsed with energy, laughter and opportunities wafting through the air, while I remained stuck in my community center, where loyalty became my silent prison. Flashbacks danced in my mind. I had joined Urban Media Group bursting with ambition and dreams. Even after all those late nights and gut-wrenching presentations, I eventually climbed my way to managing high-stakes clients, including North Bay Solutions. David Clean, the CEO, once said I anticipated their needs before they even voiced them. Did Samantha forget the lives I transformed with my hard work? Now, as I sat there, frustration and anguish curled in my stomach. The third denial for a raise had shattered something deep within me, especially after I secured a 40% increase for North Bay. "We'll revisit this in summer," Samantha had promised. Summer? I felt that part of me break. So, I dusted off my resume for the first time in years, not out of anger, but from a fierce longing for self-respect. Who could take the torture of perpetual promise? Just when I thought I was ready to make my move, Samantha discovered the truth. That night, I placed the cardboard box on my kitchen counter and let reality sink in. I wasn't taking a day off anymore. I was unemployed, the weight of it pressed against my chest, leaving me breathless. Just then, my phone burst with life. It was Olivia, my best friend. I just heard, "Are you okay?" she asked, concern evident in her voice. Thomas, Harbor's IT guy, and her boyfriend had spilled the beans. News travels fast in cities like Philadelphia, especially when you least expect it. The scent of fresh paint mixed with that first cup of morning coffee at Urban Media Group. That first day, I was all dreams and determination. My heart raced with the echoing buzz of excitement. This was my moment. I can still hear that symphony of ambition, feel the warmth of my colleagues' smiles as if they were my guiding stars. But now, that vibrant community center feels more like a cold prison. Shadows of betrayal lurk in every corner, dampening the laughter that once filled the air. Each day, Samantha Reed's condescending remarks cut deeper, bitter reminders of this unjust reality. How did it all change so fast? Now, frustration churned in my gut like a storm cloud ready to burst. After snagging a 40% increase for North Bay Solutions, I thought I'd finally get the recognition I deserved. Instead, I was met with Samantha's dismissive, "Not in the budget." In what twisted universe did loyalty become a liability? That third denial for a raise shattered something deep within me. I sat there, drowning in spreadsheets, pondering. Was it too much to want self-respect? The visual of my old cardboard box lingered, an empty reminder of having to pack up my dreams and leave without so much as a goodbye. Just when I thought I was ready to move on, Samantha caught wind of my plans. My phone buzzed to life. "Are you okay?" Olivia's voice cut through the haze, worry etched into every word. "It's completely unfair. Everyone knows you're the reason North Bay stayed with the agency," she exclaimed. She wasn't wrong. Samantha was threatened. She missed her spotlight, and I was just a little too good at my job. "We're talking about betrayal here," I said, each word laced with anger. Olivia's voice was steady. "It's her loss, Addison. Maybe this is for the best." And she was right. I had poured so much loyalty into Urban Media Group, but being fired like a criminal, that stung. If I left, I wanted it to be on my own terms. As I pondered this, my phone beeped again. David Clean, the North Bay CEO. "Are you available? I'd like to accelerate our conversation," he said, cutting straight to the chase. My heart raced. "Yes, I can be there at 2 p.m. His words hung in the air as I looked in the window, seeing not a defeated woman but someone on the brink of discovery. I showered and slipped into my best suit, the one I'd saved for pitching new clients. It was time to turn this chaos into a catalyst for my next big opportunity. As I applied my makeup, a strange calm washed over me. Samantha Reed thought she had punished me by firing me so abruptly, but maybe she had done me a favor. That morning had been humiliating, yet it also brought clarity. I had poured my loyalty, creativity, and countless unpaid hours into Urban Media Group. In return, I was undervalued and discarded. Whatever happened next, I knew one thing for sure. I would never again give my best to those who couldn't see my worth. It was time to reclaim my power. The North Bay Solutions headquarters towered above the city, a gleaming glass structure in downtown Philadelphia. Unlike Urban Media's outdated community center with its dull beige walls, North Bay embraced modern design, open spaces, collaborative pods, and walls of windows showcasing breathtaking views. As I rode the elevator to the 30th floor, I mentally rehearsed my pitch. I needed to explain my sudden availability without sounding bitter about Urban Media. Professionalism was key, even when discussing uncomfortable truths. The elevator doors slid open, revealing David Clean himself waiting in the reception area. "Megan, it's great to see you," he greeted warmly, extending his hand. "Thanks for coming on such short notice." David, in his early 50s with salt and pepper hair, had a reputation for being both brilliant and fair, qualities I had come to appreciate during our 3 years of collaboration. "I appreciate the flexibility," I replied, shaking his hand firmly. "It's been an unexpected day." "Let's talk in my community center," he said, leading me through the bustling workspace. Familiar faces from North Bay waved or nodded as we passed, a reminder of the connections I had built. David's corner community center was modest compared to Samantha's showpiece, but infinitely more welcoming, with comfortable seating arranged for conversation rather than intimidation. "Coffee," he offered. "Please." Once we were settled with steaming mugs, David got straight to the point. "I wanted to discuss your future with us." Just as I was about to respond, a familiar voice echoed behind me, sending chills down my spine. "Megan, is that you?" My heart sank. What did Samantha want now? The community center buzzed with the electric hum of ambition and tension. Megan Taylor could feel the weight of her choices pressing down on her as she flashed back to the day she first pitched to Urban Media Group. Back then, the air buzzed with possibility. Her heart raced with hope, and the applause of her colleagues felt like a triumphant crescendo. But now, that very memory was tainted, twisted into something unrecognizable. The acrid scent of burnt coffee mixed with stale air as Samantha Reed's insistent presence loomed in the doorway, smug as if she'd already won. Megan's joy crumbled into dust at the thought of betrayal. She had poured her heart and soul into Urban Media, only to be thrust aside when the stakes got high. How could loyalty cost her so much? As she sat across from David Clean, the CEO of North Bay Solutions, the stakes had never felt higher. His community center was a stark contrast to the dingy confines of urban media, a space designed for collaboration and innovation, a place where Megan's spark could rekindle. The browning leaves shushed outside, whispering secrets of change. She sipped her coffee, feeling the warmth spread through her, giving her courage. "I received a call from Samantha this morning," David began, breaking the tension like a fragile glass. "She told me you wouldn't be handling the North Bay account anymore." A fire ignited within Megan, yet she forced her fingers to stay steady. Of course, Samantha would try to keep the biggest client for herself, she managed, letting a hint of steel slip into her tone. David nodded thoughtfully. "What she doesn't know is, we've been concerned about our relationship with Harbor Point." Concerned. His words sliced through Megan's anger. The campaign results, their efforts, had exceeded expectations. "Yes," he said, leaning in. "Your work has been stellar, but we've noticed delays and a sense that they're taking us for granted." Her mind raced. Could this be a turning point? He continued, 3 months ago, the board suggested exploring other partners. I resisted, thanks to you." Megan felt her heart quicken, an unexpected heat of hope rising within her. Would this conversation lead where she dreamed? "When you reached out about opportunities, it was perfect timing," he said, "but I need you to know, we were never going to poach you." Relief mixed with uncertainty swirled inside her. "I was planning to give 2 weeks' notice," she said, grounding herself again. David smiled, that genuine warmth cracking through the tension. "I believe you. Your integrity is why we're here today." He slid a document toward her. Each inch traveled felt monumental. "This isn't an interview, Megan. It's a job offer, Director of Client Strategy." Her breath caught, emotions dancing on the edge of disbelief. Could this really be the fresh start she desperately sought? As Megan Taylor stared at her phone, doubt washed over her like a heavy rain. Each message from her former colleagues dripped with sympathies and whispered betrayals. The knot in her stomach tightened, an uncomfortable reminder of the deception lurking behind her recent success. The buzzing phone felt like a lurking threat, pulling her closer to another corporate trap. What if David's offer was a lifeline, or was it just bait? Did she deserve this chance, or was it merely a fleeting mirage? She glanced at the offer letter resting on her kitchen table, signed and ready to return. The numbers that promised nearly double her previous salary, danced in her head. "This is very generous," she said, her voice steady. "It's market rate for your experience," David had said, illuminating her worth when she had forgotten it herself. A wave of hope mixed with the fear of betrayal swirled within her like the scent of rain hitting pavement, fresh yet unsettling. Hours passed with her phone buzzing, messages flooding in about her firing. One from Thomas caught her attention. "Samantha Reed called an emergency meeting after you left. She says you were terminated for breach of company loyalty." Irony tinged this news like the rustle of leaves in a storm. Samantha Reed was laying a trap, but it was her own foot that was caught in the snare. Another message from Jessica chimed in, revealing the truth of everyone's anxiety over North Bay. Megan could almost picture the frantic energy in Harbor Point's offices. But why should she feel satisfied in their distress? There was a clarity in knowing she had chosen to escape an empty loyalty. With a deep breath, she reminded herself this was her moment. But then a phone call from an unknown number interrupted her thoughts, sending adrenaline shooting through her veins. What now? Was it another threat, or could it be an unexpected twist in her new path? She answered, heart racing, ready for whatever came next. "Megan Taylor?" A woman's voice cut through the silence. It was Elaine Winters from Urban Media Group. Megan's heart raced. The board rarely got involved. "Why now?" I understand there was an incident today regarding your employment, Elaine continued. I'd like to meet tomorrow to discuss it. Samantha Reed may have been hasty in her decision. Megan's mind spun. They fired her most valuable account manager without a heads up, leaving North Bay's situation vulnerable. I appreciate the call, Miss Winters, but I've already accepted another position, she replied, keeping her tone steady yet defiant. There was a heavy pause. May I ask where? I don't think that would be appropriate to share at this time. Megan shot back, a chill creeping down her spine. Another long pause. Addison, if this is about compensation, I'm sure we can revisit those conversations. The board values your contribution. The irony nearly choked her. Years of denied raises suddenly meant nothing. It's not just about compensation, she said. It's about respect and valuing employees before it's too late. Perhaps we should discuss this in person, Elaine insisted. Tomorrow morning. Megan hesitated. Despite her resolve to leave Urban Media Group behind, there was something compelling about professional closure. I can meet at 9 a.m., but just to be clear, I've signed with another company. I'm not coming back. Understood, Elaine replied, though doubt lingered in her voice. As Megan hung up, she poured herself a glass of wine and stepped onto her balcony. The spring air was cool, and the city lights sparkled beneath her like distant stars. Tomorrow would bring an unexpected confrontation, but it presented a chance to finally voice her frustration. As the aroma of rain mixed with the scent of blossoming cherry trees, she pondered. Was this meeting a lifeline or a trap? The tension wrapped around her, leaving her unsure of the path ahead. Would she risk everything to confront them, or would this be yet another chapter of betrayal? Tomorrow, the tension would spill out, but for now, she allowed the evening to wash over her, a blend of hope and uncertainty, electric like the air just before a storm. As the elevator doors slid open, Megan took a deep breath. Stepping into the conference room felt oddly nostalgic, with the scent of polished wood mingling with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Her heart raced, but today something was different. She wasn't just a pawn anymore. She had the strength of self-worth coursing through her veins. But then her pulse quickened for another reason. Across the room, she spotted Michael, the mole from her old team, standing next to Elaine Winters, the head of Urban Media Group. The moment their eyes met, betrayal twisted in her gut like a venomous vine. This wasn't just another career meeting, it was deeply personal. Addison, you're here for the meeting with Ms. Winters, Jessica said, barely masking her surprise. The warmth in her tone was a flicker of support, a reminder of what she once had. The conference room smelled of polished wood and ambition, but all Megan could feel was the weight of every denied raise and overlooked achievement crashing down on her. I appreciate the call, Miss Winters, but I've already accepted another position, she replied, her voice steady, refusing to waver. Perhaps we should discuss this in person, Elaine insisted, her tone cool. They wanted to make it right, but for Megan, this was about more than just retribution. This was about respect and validation, something she'd been denied for far too long. As she settled into her chair, facing Elaine, she thought of the journey that brought her here. Years of hard work met with indifference, the subtle betrayals no one else saw. In that moment, the stakes couldn't be higher. Would this confrontation lead to personal redemption or deepen the wounds of betrayal? She was ready to find out. 6 years of excellent performance reviews, yet still no recognition, Elaine remarked, flipping through her folder like it was just another set of numbers. But to Megan, those figures were more than data. They were her story. Each review painted a picture of resilience and determination, qualities that could no longer be ignored. The tension hung heavy in the air as Megan glanced back at Michael, who avoided her gaze. This wasn't just about her career, it was about sending a message. She was done being silenced. Each word would be a step toward reclaiming her narrative. Elaine, this isn't merely a compensation issue. This is about the integrity of how your team values its employees, Megan said, her voice rising slightly. Respect, hard-earned and overdue, was at stake. The room around them felt alive, filled with unspoken stories and untapped potential. Amid the looming shadows of betrayal, a flicker of hope ignited within her. This conversation wasn't just a farewell. It was her chance to break free. Would she seize it? A brief silence followed her words, as though the universe held its breath, waiting for the next move. Would they finally recognize her worth, or continue the cycle of injustice? Megan's heart raced with the possibilities, but there was no turning back now. It was time to reclaim her voice. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead as Megan Taylor's heart raced, each beat echoing the tension in the room. Elaine's cool gaze bore down on her, the offer hanging in the air like a tightrope strung between two buildings, ripe with possibility, yet tinged with betrayal. Outside, the city was alive, with the sweet scent of rain on the pavement, contrasting sharply with the suffocating atmosphere inside the community center. Time felt frozen as Megan's mind whirled, calculating the risks, weighing the promise of stability against her burning need for validation. Then the phone rang, slicing through the silence. Who was it, and could this call upend everything? Megan had spent years pouring her soul into this job only to feel the weight of indifference and subtle betrayals press down on her. Entering this confrontation wasn't just about her career. It was a shot at respect she'd been denied for too long. 6 years of excellent performance reviews, yet still no recognition, Elaine remarked, flipping through Megan's folder like it was just another set of records. But those figures were her truth, each review an echo of her relentless spirit, fighting to be seen. Megan glanced at Michael, who avoided her gaze as if the truth were too heavy to bear. This isn't merely a compensation issue. It's about integrity. It's about how your team honors its employees, she stated, her voice rising with conviction. The air thickened with unspoken tension and unrealized potential. In that moment, hope flickered inside her. This was her chance to break free from the chains of suppression. Would she seize it? A silence enveloped them like an impending storm, waiting for someone to take the next step. Would they finally acknowledge her worth, or would the cycle of injustice continue? Megan's heart raced with the weight of what was to come. It was time to reclaim her voice. Samantha Reed has been operating with significant autonomy. What I don't see, Megan pressed on, is any documentation justifying my termination yesterday. There's no policy against interviewing with other organizations. Her calm determination caught Elaine off guard, an eyebrow lifting slightly. Ms. Taylor, Elaine began, I'll be direct. The board wants to offer you reinstatement with the raised compensation you requested, plus a 10% increase and the title of Senior Account Director. The offer hung there, tempting yet bitter, arriving 3 years and 1 humiliating dismissal too late. That's generous, Megan responded evenly. But as I mentioned on the phone, I've already accepted a position elsewhere. North Bay Solutions? Elaine seemed to pry, but Megan offered only silence, keeping her professional boundaries intact. As Elaine continued, it became clear. Their fear of losing a key client was the real reason behind this desperate overture. One last question, if I may. What could Harbor Point have done differently? Megan welcomed the question, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. Recognize my value before I had to look elsewhere for it. Loyalty works both ways, Miss Winters. You expect unwavering commitment while showing I'm not worth investing in. That creates an unsustainable imbalance. Elaine nodded, her expression thoughtful. As she stood, extending her hand, Megan felt the weight of this moment. Thank you for your candor. Whatever your next steps, I wish you success. Megan took a breath, feeling the pulse of possibility in that small gesture. each heartbeat reminding her that this wasn't just an end. It was a beginning. Would she forge ahead into the unknown, or fold back into the shadows? The choice was hers. Walking out of Harbor Point for the last time, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. This wasn't just a goodbye, it was my chance to reclaim my story. I was leaving on my terms, with my dignity intact. Closure had finally found me. Monday morning dawned, buzzing with excitement and a hint of nerves. Today marked the start of my new journey at North Bay Solutions. I arrived early, ready to embrace this fresh chapter. My new community center was a dream, sunlight streaming through the windows, a real door separating me from the chaos outside. David had set everything up perfectly, even a welcome basket waiting for me. At 9 a.m., David introduced me to my new team, 5 talented marketing specialists eager to dive into our projects. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had gone from managing a single account to overseeing all marketing partnerships, including the one with Harbor Point. Team, this is Megan Taylor, our new Director of Client Strategy, David announced. Many of you know her from her outstanding work at Urban Media Group. We're lucky to have her expertise. After a quick team meeting to outline our priorities, David led me to the conference room. The air was thick with anticipation as I entered. Several members of North Bay's executive team were gathered around the table, their expressions serious. Before you dive in completely, David said, we wanted your input on an important decision. The chief financial officer leaned forward. Given recent changes, we're reevaluating our relationship with Urban Media Group. Their contract is up for renewal next month. We value your perspective, added the chief marketing officer, her eyes locked on mine. Just as I was about to respond, a sudden knock at the door shattered the moment. It swung open, and my heart sank. There stood Brian, my former boss from Harbor Point, a stack of papers in hand and a smug smile plastered across his face. You might want to reconsider that fresh start, Megan, he said, a challenge glinting in his eyes. What did he know that I didn't? The tension in the room thickened, and I could feel the weight of his words hanging in the air. Would I let his presence overshadow my new beginning, or would I stand my ground and assert my worth? The choice was mine, and the stakes had never been higher. The community center hummed with energy, yet an unsettling tension thickened the air. Megan Taylor sat at her desk, heart drumming as she stared at her screen. A notification pinged, making her breath hitch. Was it from Urban Media Group, or worse, a message from Samantha Reed? The weight of that uncertainty almost choked her. Could she navigate this corporate jungle without losing herself? Megan had an opportunity sitting in front of her. She understood the inner workings of Harbor Point better than anyone else. The chance for swift revenge against Samantha tugged at her. A financial blow to Harbor Point would be satisfying. Yet that wasn't her style. Immediate gratification contrasted sharply with the professionalism she valued. I propose we evaluate Harbor Point just like any other potential partner, she said, speaking with measured calm. They've done strong work, but moving forward, we need to focus on consistency and account management. The email, finalized at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, was not just any message. It was a turning point. 1 week after Samantha's betrayal, Megan had a chance to reclaim her worth. The email was crisp. North Bay Solutions would transition its account to Meridian Creative immediately. The team at Urban Media Group would take the reins. Megan's signature would become the bridge between both companies, overseeing the transition. All while Samantha would be blindsided. What would her reaction be? The disbelief, the shock. Megan could almost see Samantha's face twisting in surprise at her loss, not just of an employee but of a lucrative client, which accounted for nearly 30% of Harbor Point's annual revenue. And Megan would be at the helm. Would this be the redemption she craved, or merely the beginning of another battle in the community center jungle? Megan Taylor had never sought revenge, but life had a way of offering it when least expected. After leaving Harbor Point, she thought the chapter was closed, but a LinkedIn message from Jessica, the receptionist at her former company, changed everything. The community center is chaos. Samantha Reed's been in emergency meetings all day. 3 other account managers are updating their resumes. Megan let the words sink in, knowing exactly what they meant. Harbor Point was unraveling without her, but she didn't need to gloat or get involved. Success was all the revenge she needed. Instead, Megan put her focus on what truly mattered: her future. Building her new team at North Bay, establishing systems, and finding her stride again. A year later, Megan realized that the real gift Samantha Reed had given her wasn't the betrayal, but the push to reclaim her self-worth. Megan had never needed to fight for revenge. The company's downfall was the consequence of undervaluing her all along. Sometimes, the most satisfying revenge isn't the one you actively seek, but the one that naturally follows when you finally recognize your own value. And Megan, she was ready to own her success.